with the T.I. situation, if he did that, you're a fucking rat too. I don't spare no motherfucking body. Because if you doing anything wrong, you doing anything criminal-wise, and you cooperate with law enforcement to get you out of trouble, that means you're cooperating. That means...
Y'all, what if the most explosive moment in hip-hop right now didn't start with a diss track, but with a video that was never supposed to leak? Because according to insiders close to the situation, 50 Cent may have just pulled the most ruthless move of his entire career. Behind the scenes, clips from a shocking documentary targeting T.I. and his son King Harris allegedly started circulating through private industry chats, and the reactions from major rappers were immediate and brutal. Sources claim some of the first people to see the footage included Boosie Badazz, along with several other heavy hitters in the rap world. And the moment those clips started spreading, the entire tone of this feud changed overnight. Because this wasn't just trolling. This wasn't just another rap beef. The footage reportedly shows moments that critics say could damage reputations, ignite old accusations, and reopen controversies the Harris family has spent years trying to bury. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just talking about music anymore. It was talking about exposure. Because the same man who helped push devastating allegations about Sean Combs into the spotlight is now rumored to be preparing another bombshell project. A documentary insiders claim could tear through the legacy of one of Atlanta's biggest rap icons just as he prepares to release what he says will be the final album of his career. And if those leaked clips are only the beginning, then what's coming next might be far worse than anyone expected.
Ever think to not go as hard as you did, or to go about it a different way?
I treated people how they treated us. I treated, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing that I wanted to do, just something that just happened.
What makes this entire situation even more explosive is that none of it started with leaked footage. It started with pride, with ego, with two men who have spent decades building reputations in hip-hop suddenly finding themselves locked in a battle neither one seems willing to walk away from. For years, T.I. had been pushing for a versus battle against 50 Cent. At first, fans thought it made perfect sense. Two giants of their era, two catalogs packed with hits, a showdown that could easily dominate the internet for weeks. But behind the scenes, the situation was already starting to turn sour. Back in 2020, during the early months of the pandemic, versus battles were taking over music culture. Artists were going head-to-head from different cities, while millions of fans watched online. It was competitive, but it was also celebratory. A chance for legends to remind the world why their music mattered. That was when T.I. decided to publicly challenge 50 Cent. He wished him a happy birthday on Instagram and then issued a challenge. Pull up with your hits. 20 songs. Sit across from me and let's do this. At first, the moment looked playful, almost friendly, but 50 Cent didn't bite. He brushed it off, ignored the challenge, and the internet moved on. For a while, it looked like the moment had simply faded away. Another almost battle that never happened. But years later, the situation came roaring back to life. In early 2026, T.I. appeared on the Nightcap podcast with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. And during the conversation, the versus battle came up again. This time, T.I. didn't hold back.
I do not. Simply because I've spent so much time trying to get this off the ledge.
Talking about King?
Yes. And now he has justifiable means to undo all of the teachings that I've been teaching.
Got it.
I do not like this. No, I do not enjoy it.
Now, if Damani kept us cool, Damani's always cool.
What universe is this? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, man, listen, man. I'm a logical, reasonable man of respect, bro. And I raise my children to be men of respect, logical, reasonable.
He claimed the battle had already been discussed privately, that the two rappers had talked about it before, that there had even been an understanding between them. But according to T.I., when he went public with the idea, something strange happened. 50 Cent suddenly acted like he had no idea what T.I. was talking about. And then the trolling started. To some people watching online, it looked like classic 50 Cent behavior. The same kind of sarcastic humor he's used for years to embarrass rivals. But to T.I., it felt like something else entirely. It felt like humiliation. Because suddenly the narrative had flipped. Instead of fans anticipating a legendary versus showdown, people were laughing at T.I. as if he had made the entire thing up. And that was the moment everything began to spiral. Instead of responding with music, 50 Cent took the argument somewhere far more dangerous. He posted an old Atlanta Crime Stoppers clip involving T.I. The message wasn't subtle. In hip-hop culture, being labeled a snitch isn't just an insult. It's a stain that can follow an artist for the rest of their career. A single accusation can destroy decades of credibility. And suddenly that was the conversation dominating social media. Fans weren't talking about a versus battle anymore. They were debating loyalty, street codes, reputation. T.I. fired back almost immediately. He denied the accusation and warned that if anyone's paperwork needed to be examined, it might actually belong to 50 Cent. With that single exchange, the tone of the entire feud changed. What had started as a competitive challenge had now become a public war over credibility. And once those kinds of accusations start flying in hip-hop, there's rarely a clean way back. But things were about to get even more personal, because the next move in this feud wouldn't just involve the two rappers themselves. It would drag their families directly into the crossfire.
He was telling Tariq, like, nah, bro, just, put the suit on, and you know what I'm saying, da-da-da. And it was like, I was telling him, like, basically, I'm gonna do all that's gonna come, but I'm young, bro, you gotta give me time to change, bro. Like, you're giving people the perspective of something that you and I know it's not. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's rewriting that make what I say not credible.
Okay, yeah.
That's making what I say not credible. Because what I'm saying is, if you say, nah, you grew up in a big mansion, and I'd be like, bruh, you know I was in my grandma's house, so why you even say, this shouldn't, we can just leave it, like, this ain't even nothing to kick up. I'm trying to tell him, like, nigga, I done got into my own, I done did it on my own, I done really, you right now is discrediting and trying to take that I done did and be like, nah, it ain't good. Like, you can't do it.
Once the accusations started flying, the feud stopped looking like a typical rap rivalry and started feeling like something much more volatile. What had begun as a challenge between two rap veterans quickly turned into a personal war playing out in front of millions of viewers online. And that's when the situation crossed a line many people in hip-hop believe should never be touched. Family. After posting the old Crime Stoppers clip, 50 Cent didn't stop there. Instead of keeping the feud strictly between himself and T.I., he took aim at something far more sensitive. Social media posts began circulating where he mocked T.I.'s wife, Tiny Harris. Memes, edited photos, captions designed to embarrass and provoke. In hip-hop culture, targeting someone's family is widely seen as a point of no return. Once that boundary is crossed, retaliation almost always follows. And in this case, it came fast. The Harris family didn't stay quiet. Instead, they mobilized. Within days, the conflict exploded beyond the two original rivals and into something much bigger. Diss tracks began appearing online, messages started flooding social media, and the internet watched as the situation spiraled into a multi-generational feud. T.I. was the first to strike musically. He released a series of diss records aimed directly at 50 Cent tracks like War, The Right One, and Lessons carried an unmistakable tone. This wasn't playful competition anymore. These songs questioned 50 Cent's credibility, challenged his reputation, and pushed the narrative that the accusations being thrown at T.I. could easily be turned back around. But even that wasn't the most shocking development, because the feud didn't stop with T.I. His sons stepped in next. First came Demony Harris, who released a diss track titled Ms. Jackson. The song stunned listeners almost immediately. In the lyrics, Demony referenced Sabrina Jackson, the late mother of 50 Cent, directly addressing her in a verse that questioned how she would feel about the way her son was handling the feud. It was a deeply personal moment that many fans felt pushed the situation into dangerous territory. But the most controversial move was still coming. Soon after, King Harris entered the fight. At just 21 years old, King had grown up in the public eye through his family's reality television fame. But this time, he wasn't appearing on camera as a celebrity child. He was stepping directly into one of the most high-profile rap feuds of the year. And he came in aggressively. King released his own diss tracks, starting with Made Man, where he warned 50 Cent to stop disrespecting his mother. The message was clear. The conflict had become personal for him, and he was ready to defend his family publicly. Then things escalated even further. In another track titled Solace, King Harris delivered a series of bars aimed straight at 50 Cent. But it wasn't just the lyrics that caused outrage. It was the imagery.
That is beyond music, okay? So all of these old artists that's coming out with their new music, they need to let it go. They need to just promote their music and leave that man alone. He's not entitled to do a versus. He's beyond music now. He's in film and television, okay? Music doesn't move him anymore. So with Tip dropping his new single, of course he gotta sell it. Of course he gotta sell it. So hey, here's a strategic move. Let's go at 50, do a versus. Y'all know he ain't finna do it. You know he's not finna do it, because if he was gonna do it, he would have did it when the wave was going on, when everybody was doing the verses. I'm pretty sure he was offered during that time. The man is beyond music. That's all I can say. So when these artists come out with their music and they go at 50, it's all about sales. That's all it's about. It's all it's about. Beef with him, say what you're gonna say. He don't give a fuck about y'all saying nothing about his dead mama, this, that, and the other. He done been without that lady for years. That does not bother him and move him. That's just my opinion. Okay? He is a true villain. He really is. He is not the person.
In the music video, King Harris appeared wearing a custom shirt printed with the face of 50 Cent's late mother. The visual spread across social media almost instantly, triggering heated reactions from fans, commentators, and even longtime observers of hip-hop culture. To many people watching, that moment represented the ultimate escalation. Because once deceased family members become part of the spectacle, the emotional stakes rise dramatically. And that's exactly what happened. Suddenly, the feud wasn't just about diss tracks anymore. It had become a cultural spectacle. Social media timelines filled with debates about who had crossed the line first. Some fans defended the Harris family for responding after Tiny had been mocked online. Others argued that involving a deceased parent was a step too far. Meanwhile, outside voices began entering the conversation. One of the most notable reactions came from Rick Ross, a longtime rival of 50 Cent. When Ross saw the viral images circulating online, he jumped into the comment section with a remark asking where he could get the same shirt King Harris was wearing. The comment instantly spread across hip-hop blogs, adding even more fuel to an already burning situation. What had once been a feud between two rappers was now drawing reactions from across the industry. But while the Harris family continued responding through music and social media, 50 Cent was moving differently. He wasn't dropping diss tracks. He wasn't rushing into the studio. Instead, he kept posting memes, screenshots, short comments that seemed designed to provoke reactions without giving away too much. And that behavior made some observers uneasy. Because people who have watched 50 Cent's career closely know something about his strategy. When he gets loud, it's usually trolling. But when he gets quiet, something bigger is often coming. And according to several industry insiders, the next move he was preparing wouldn't be another social media post. It would be something far more powerful. A documentary. Part 3. While the Harris family was busy firing back with diss tracks, social media posts, and increasingly personal attacks, 50 Cent appeared to be doing something very different. He went quiet. And anyone who has followed 50 Cent's career knows that his silence rarely means surrender. In fact, it often signals the exact opposite. Because when 50 stops arguing in public, it usually means something much bigger is happening behind the scenes. That's exactly what started to unfold. On March 5th, the internet suddenly lit up with a screenshot that seemed to confirm what many people had feared. In a now-deleted Instagram post, 50 Cent shared a headline claiming he was developing a documentary titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny. The post didn't stay up for long, but long enough. Within minutes, screenshots were spreading across hip-hop blogs, Twitter threads, and YouTube commentary channels. Fans immediately began asking the same question: was this real, or was 50 Cent simply trolling again? But the caption he attached to the post suggested something much more serious. He wrote that he hoped the project wouldn't interfere with T.I.'s upcoming promo tour. He even warned that journalists might start asking uncomfortable questions about the long list of allegations tied to the rapper and his wife Tiny Harris. That caption sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. Because suddenly the feud wasn't about diss tracks anymore. It was about exposure. Over the years, several women had accused the couple of disturbing behavior, including allegations involving drugging and sexual misconduct. While many of those lawsuits were dismissed in court and the couple has consistently denied the accusations, the controversy never fully disappeared. And documentaries don't operate the same way courtrooms do. They operate in the court of public opinion. That means even old allegations can suddenly become front-page headlines again if they are presented to millions of viewers through a major streaming platform. That's what made this moment so dangerous. Because if the rumored documentary actually exists, it wouldn't just be another rap diss. It would be a media event capable of reaching a global audience. And the timing couldn't be more brutal. At the very same moment this rumor exploded online, T.I. was preparing to release what he calls the final album of his career, Kill the King. The project is meant to serve as a farewell to rap, a victory lap celebrating decades of influence in Atlanta's hip-hop scene. But instead of celebrating his legacy, the conversation has shifted. Now fans are asking whether the documentary will drop at the exact same time as the album rollout. If that happens, the narrative could flip overnight. From celebration to scandal. Meanwhile, another layer of the conflict was quietly unfolding online. Earlier in the feud, King Harris had taken an aggressive role in defending his family, releasing diss tracks and posting alleged paperwork meant to challenge the accusations coming from 50 Cent's side. At one point, King even shared a document that he claimed linked 50 Cent to an anonymous tip connected to a murder investigation. The implication was clear. If anyone was going to be accused of cooperating with authorities, the evidence might point somewhere else entirely. The document spread rapidly across social media. Screenshots appeared everywhere. And although the authenticity of the claim remains debated, the damage had already been done. The feud had now reached a level where accusations, rumors, and leaked materials were moving faster than anyone could control. Even T.I. himself eventually acknowledged that the situation had gone further than he expected. In later interviews, he admitted that while he appreciated his sons defending their mother, some moments in the feud crossed lines that should have been left untouched. One moment in particular stood out. The image of King Harris wearing a shirt featuring the face of 50 Cent's late mother. For T.I., that was the moment things went too far. But by then, the conflict had already taken on a life of its own. Because the real battle now wasn't happening in recording studios. It was happening in the media. Over the past decade, 50 Cent has quietly transformed himself from a rapper into a powerful television producer. Through hit shows, production deals, and streaming partnerships, he has built connections that stretch far beyond the music industry. That changes the rules of the game completely. A diss track might dominate headlines for a few days. A viral tweet might trend for a weekend. But a documentary can live online for years. And that's why the entire hip-hop world is watching the situation so closely right now. Because if 50 Cent really presses play on this project, the fallout could stretch far beyond a simple rap feud. It could reshape the legacy of an entire family. And in a culture where reputation means everything, that might be the most devastating weapon of all. And now the entire hip-hop world is holding its breath, because this situation has moved far beyond a simple feud. What started as a Versus challenge has exploded into something darker, something unpredictable, and something that could permanently change how people look at everyone involved. Diss tracks, memes, and viral moments are one thing, but documentaries are different. They don't disappear after a week. They sit on platforms, they get recommended by algorithms, and they introduce millions of new viewers to stories that many fans thought were already buried. That's exactly why the tension right now feels so dangerous. Because while T.I. continues pushing forward with his final album and trying to keep the focus on music, 50 Cent appears to be playing an entirely different game. He's not chasing radio spins. He's not fighting for chart positions. He's controlling the narrative, slowly turning a rap battle into a media spectacle that could dominate headlines for months. And the most unsettling part is the silence. When 50 Cent goes quiet, people who know his history start paying attention. They've seen this pattern before. The jokes stop. The trolling slows down. Then suddenly something drops that detonates the entire conversation. Right now, nobody knows if the rumored documentary is real, if cameras are already rolling, or if this is simply the most ruthless psychological move hip-hop has seen in years. But one thing is undeniable. The threat alone has already shifted the spotlight away from music and onto allegations, accusations, and reputations. So the real question is no longer about who wins the rap battle. The real question is what happens if the documentary actually drops. Because if that moment comes, this feud won't just live on social media anymore. It could explode across streaming platforms and reach millions of viewers overnight. And when that happens, the fallout could change everything. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.